Hey everybody, this is Janica from Wisdom from North. Today I would like to make a video about a topic that I've been a bit hesitant about. However, I have contemplated much this summer about what I want to do with this YouTube channel, and many of you who have followed me for years know that I usually do YouTube interviews with amazing spiritual teachers, and I'm going to continue with that whenever there is an inspiring teacher coming along, or if there is a teacher that I'm collaborating with that I feel have wisdom to share, I will make those interviews. However, I still like to share some of my experiences and also my life in general and my perspectives, because 15 years ago, when I so desperately needed answers, I looked to people online and found it very soothing to hear their stories. I actually still really love to hear role models I have, or just influencers or inspirators or teachers in general, just sharing their stories, because it just reminds us that we're one and we're going through the same very often. And especially like 20 years ago, where I had no evidence that there was another world, so to say, out there, or that we do in fact go on after this life. Like I believed in it, but I didn't know. Well, today I feel like I know, because I've had some spiritual experiences. But at that time, I really needed to hear others talk about spiritual experiences, because to me, when I was so depressed that I was in my 20s, I just needed hope. It was like I felt that it didn't make sense living if I didn't know that I would continue living after this life. So for me, my work with Wisdom from North is really coming from this deep, deep place. I think this is definitely my soul's calling, because it feels like I cannot not do it, because it's coming from this deep, deep longing in me. And the more I talk about these subjects, the more I feel alive. And that leads me over to that I would like to make more blogs myself, because it makes me feel more alive. And I've been a bit hesitant with doing it, because I've been afraid of what other people think, and I've been holding myself back, and I've known that, because to me this takes a lot. It's really scary for me to do this. This is not natural, because even though I've been on stage for many years as a musical theater artist in Norway, I was playing a role. Like now I'm talking about my personal stuff, like my perspectives, my things I've gone through, things I believe in that not necessarily everybody believes in. And today I'm also going to speak about something that is really controversial, but I just feel that I need to, because I was the one searching online for what I'm going to speak about today, ayahuasca. Like, ayahuasca came to me 4 years ago. I had no idea what it was, and I was a bit skeptic towards it. Like, wasn't that a drug? I wasn't sure if I would accept that that was just a plant medicine, a medicine, and not a drug, because I've always been very careful with drugs like that. I've been scared of actually losing my mind, so I've been saying no to those kind of things, and I've been wanting to go through my spiritual journey in a so-called natural way. It was actually 5 years ago it came to me, ayahuasca, and then 4 years ago I took it myself. And I want to share this with you, because you might be someone who wants to try it out one day, or that is not for you. It could just inspire you. Like, for years I was just inspired by hearing these stories, and again it just confirmed that the mysticism of life, how intelligent, how brilliant, how beautiful, how magical this universe, and not just this universe, but all universes are. Like, how there is always more. It just, listening to these ayahuasca stories or spiritual experiences just always lit a fire within me. So I'm going to share this to inspire you, and also if you're curious about it. Okay, so just a caution before I start explaining what ayahuasca is and my experience. I really want to stress this, that ayahuasca needs to be taken seriously. It's not to be played with, and it's super important that it's done in the right way, that it's done in a ritual or a ceremony with a shaman that knows what he's doing, like a real shaman, not like a fake shaman. And there are a lot of people, like ayahuasca has really grown the past few years. So you can get it so many places right now. That is why it's so important to use your discernment and to be really like picky about where you're going, and do your research, and make sure that you have some testimonials and people that have been working with a shaman before, and just make sure that you've really done your research before you go to a retreat or before you try it out. Because I often think about that a knife is something that can be very helpful if you're going to cut some meat or going to, cut a slice of bread. But it can be very harmful as well, like you can cut yourself, etc. And also ayahuasca, if it's done not in the way it's supposed to be done, with reverence and respect, and in a ceremony, a ritual with shamans that really knows what they're doing, it can be harmful for some people who may not be ready for it. And also, I think it's not the first thing you start with on the spiritual path. Like, for me, I waited a long time, and when I discovered it 5 years ago, I felt I was not ready, because I was afraid of what I would see. I was afraid that that my mind would go mad with thoughts, or I had many fears around it. So I just felt like I really needed to be ready. I decided that, ayahuasca will come to me if I get ready. And it did. All right, so if you're new to ayahuasca, what is ayahuasca? Ayahuasca is a name for a sacred shamanic plant medicine coming from the South American Amazon. And it's actually a brew that you drink. And ayahuasca is made up of two components, the ayahuasca vine and the leaves of the chacruna plant. And these are boiled over fire for many hours in order to create this medicinal tea, which you then consume in a ritual or ceremonial setting. And ayahuasca is especially known to provide deep revelations about who we are. It has this female energy to it, so it's often called Mother Ayahuasca. And many call or describe it as this very large mirror, reflective mirror, because it has the capacity to show us our behavioral patterns, our negative thoughts, our deeply rooted traumas or anxieties in our inner being, but also our highest potential. There are actually no limits to what you can experience through ayahuasca, and you can also have deep spiritual, divine, mystical experiences. And ayahuasca, this specific plant medicine, is also known for its purging, and that is often why many shy away from this plant medicine. All right, so let's get into my own ayahuasca experience. And actually, I see that this might be several videos, because I don't want these videos to be too long, because I had several experiences during this retreat. Now, the week before we were going to this retreat, I was really excited. Like, I couldn't think about anything else. Finally, I was going to have this mystical experience. I was going to connect with the divine. I was really going to have like this direct connection to myself or a higher force. And that week, I started doing so much research online. And this is not something I necessarily recommend that you do, but my curiosity got the better of me. So I started, YouTubing and listening to a lot of YouTubers' different experiences and other spiritual teachers' experiences with it, just because I was so curious. However, I do think it's best to have an open mind and not fill yourself with too many stories, because it might filter what you expect, or that you come in with a lot of thoughts about what you want to experience. From what I have understood, it's Mother Ayahuasca who is making that decision on what you need, because you might think that you need a certain thing, and Mother Ayahuasca knows that you need something else. I had many intentions going in, and I experienced none of those intentions. I experienced something totally different, which was interesting. So we went into this chapel, into the woods with the group, and also the shaman that was coming from abroad, and these two beautiful teachers. And I immediately, just seeing the shaman, I just felt that, yes, he's the real deal. Like, I could just feel it, his presence, how grounded he was, and how loving he was. He like came just and hugged us. I just felt like so much love from him, and that made me really feel safe. So we came in there, and we pretty quickly, because I came a bit late, we had our own mattresses. So we were lying on the floor right next to each other, and the instructions were that we were not going to speak to each other. We were going to be in our own space, so to say. And then I was just lying there. I was so excited. I was like, what am I going to experience? I'm finally going to connect. Oh, yeah, I was really like, I felt like a child, like this childlike excitement. And then finally the ceremony started, and we were asked to come up one after the other to drink this brew. The cup was like this small. It was really cute, and I was like, oh, it's so small, you know, what's the big deal? Because I've heard so many says, oh, it tastes horrible, and you get so nauseous, and I was a bit cocky, like, what's the deal with this? And I drank it very with respect, and went back and sat down, just, you know, to wait for it to kick in. And it tasted like this, for me it tasted like a combination with chocolate and earth, like dirt. It was a weird taste. I've never tasted anything like that. But I didn't think it was that bad, in a sense. And then I sat there, and actually I quickly started feeling very nauseous. And I just felt worse and worse. And I started feeling something in my stomach, like this thing was in my stomach moving around, and I just felt sick, like really bad. And then I was the very first one to be purging, and the ayahuasca is known for the purging. So each of us had one bucket in front of us, and I know this, you know, might sound gross to some, but to me it's not really, because it was such it felt actually really good. It feels like you're purging out things that have been there for ages, like stuff you just want to get rid of. And I felt this big release. And while I was purging, I was actually started to cry, and I was bawling, like cried and cried, and because it just felt good and bad at the same time. So after that, I expected something to happen. So I was like, okay, so I'm done with my purging. Now I'm ready to experience something. And then I just felt really like sober. I don't know if that's the right word, but I just felt that nothing was going on. And all of a sudden, this negative train of thoughts started. Like, what if nothing of this is real? Like, what if everything I've heard about ayahuasca is wrong? What if they're just making up stories? What if I am the one who will never experience something and everybody else will have a great experience? And this just got worse and worse, and I really felt my negative thoughts were like bombarding me. The shaman waved me over and said, you know, do you want to have a conversation? And we had, the other teacher was a translator, so she was translating what I said. And I was just feeling really, really sad because I had had such great expectations. You know, I'd been waiting for this for 4 years, and there I was experiencing nothing. And I was looking around and people were like all in their own worlds, and it seemed like they had deep experiences. And I was like, what the frick? What is this? What's going on? Is this just nonsense? And then I felt, is this something with me? You know, am I not worthy enough? Like I got all these negative thoughts. And then the shaman was so beautiful. Like he told me some stories about my family, and that we were now reconnecting my family heritage to nature, to the plant medicine. I was getting ready for the wisdom to come, for the plant medicine to work. I just needed to be patient. And also he said, your thoughts are not true. You need to cultivate thoughts from the heart. These thoughts are just an illusion, those thoughts that you're having right now. And he said also that you will experience that the universe is inside of you. And I said, okay. I kind of had faith in him because he just radiated so much wisdom and truth. So I kind of made peace with that. So I went back to my bed, and I think I got another cup, but I didn't feel anything. And also the teacher said to me, you know, purging is really important because maybe you have actually purged out something that could have been a disease in 10 years, for instance. So purging is really like a reason to do this for itself, even though you might not get an divine experience. The next day, I really worked with myself because we were going then into a new ceremony, and I realized that, you know, there is a chance that I won't have any experience. Like there is a chance. And then I finally surrendered to that. Before that, I was fighting it. I was fighting and resisting, and I was like, no, I need an experience. I want an experience. I'm here. And then I surrendered to the divine, and I said, okay, Mother Ayahuasca, if I'm not supposed to have that sort of experience that I don't even know what is, then that's fine. You know, perhaps that's a purpose with that as well. Yeah, I just kind of came to peace with that. Mother Ayahuasca knew what she was doing, and I was fine with whatever would happen. So then I went into my second ceremony with no expectations, almost thinking that nothing is going to happen, and just, you know, there was so much love in the room and so much joy in the room, and I've started to bond with the other people there, and I was just happy to be there. It was just this temple of love, I felt. But then I had an amazing experience. And I see that I've already talked for 20 minutes, so I'm going to make a second video of my my different ayahuasca experience. So I know this might be something that you're totally against. This might be something that is not for you. However, one of my intentions in life is to be authentic. And if I'm constantly going to be afraid or how other people will perceive me, or if some out there have different opinions than I do, and if I let that, you know, hold me down, then I'm not living bravely, am I? So this is part of me sharing something I know is controversial, sharing that I took a stand, that I wanted to do this for myself, that I was ready, but it's not necessarily for everyone. However, ayahuasca is becoming more and more common, actually, and if it's done in the right way, I really believe in it as a healing tool, as a way to connect to the truth of who you are, as a way to awaken, actually, faster, also to just accelerate your inner growth. And I think, or I believe, that Mother Ayahuasca is calling you. I felt the call, like I felt it so strongly that I could not do it. So if you don't feel the call, it's totally fine. If you feel the call, check it out, do your research, and yeah, perhaps it's for you. All right, so in the next video, I'm going to share my divine ayahuasca experience. Thank you so much for watching, and I have a free gift for you. I have the Meet Your Future Self meditation. It's one of my most popular meditations, and it's really powerful because it's called progression, where you actually progress to the future and meet your future self. And there you can actually see the potential that lies in your future and start to focus in on the future you actually want by co-creating with a future version of you. Because everything happens right now and your future is happening right now. However, we have multiple different futures. So which future do you want to choose? And in this future self meditation, you get to really choose the highest version of you and then focus on that. And I think the more you are aware of where you want to go, set the intentions, and draw in the wisdom from your future self, the more you can actually create it. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Much light.